Hey, Patrick Sullivan here, and I want to take a moment to share with you the differences between sharing and measurement division. So I want to do that. I want you to take some time, so pause the video, and go ahead and physically act out each of these tasks. Find 18 objects and engage in solving each of these tasks with physical objects. Now, when you acted these out, you probably had the 18 objects and you moved three at a time. In this particular case, you knew the size of the group. So you started to create bags, forming three in each bag, which was again the size of the group. And you continue that task until you had exhausted all of your sugar cubes. And so in the end, you knew the number of groups was six, and the size of the groups, which you had from the very beginning of the problem, was three. So the question asked you to find the number of groups. Now that was the first task. The second task, you have 18 sugar cubes again. This particular time, you know the number of groups and you're moving, hopefully fairly sharing or fair sharing those sugar cubes. So let's suppose a student, again, in this particular case, unlike the last problem where we moved groups of three, we can choose to move them however we wish. And you'll see in this particular case, again, first we moved one, and we moved two, and then, oh, look, we can move three. And so we don't have to keep the size of the group the same, but in the end, we get to the same place. In this case, we have three groups of six sugar cubes, or three bags of six sugar cubes. So again, this contrasts the difference between a measurement and sharing. In the first problem, the measurement problem, you know the whole and you know the size of the group, which in this case is going to be three sugar cubes. What you don't know is the number of those bags that you need, and that's the physical activity you go through to determine that. Second problem, again, likewise, you know the number of sugar cubes. And in this particular case, in the sharing, you know the number of bags. And what you're trying to find is how many sugar cubes are going, or the size of the group. So in this particular case, you go through a different action. So the goal of this video was to contrast for you. I'll give you a brief contrast of contextual division problems that can be either measurement or sharing. Oftentimes, students first learn sharing, and then we move to measurement, and measurement helps us a little bit easier to model um, division problems involving fractions with measurement. But anyway, just wanted to give you a brief overview.